Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. She's the host of the program. I join her, though. And Barb, home sellers planning to put their homes on the market often ask, how do they prepare? So, what are some important tips to drive up the sales price when people are selling their home right here in Colorado Springs?
Well, Richard, in general, the prettier homes that are priced what I call realistically versus optimistically will always sell fast. And it doesn't necessarily mean everything has to be brand new. I have one right now where they decided that speed was their priority, followed by price. And so we priced it very realistically. So kind of in the middle range of similar sales. So as an example, the high end of that home sale probably was maybe 480 and the low end possibly 440. So they priced it right about 460. And as far as what was improved in the home, they updated flooring. The kitchen had been updated in the last 10 years, but nothing extravagant. And just in general, it was in good functional condition. It's a 70s home, but not a full-on Corinthian leather, like what you see, the completely rehabbed homes. That's not necessary. What the buyers want is move-in ready. So that one we had under contract within a few days of being introduced to the market. And then, unfortunately, the first buyer was not able to get their financing, and a number of weeks had passed before we determined that. So, right away, we went back on the market, and within 3 days, we had two offers. We didn't change the price, we didn't change anything. We just went back on the market. So, that tells me they priced it exactly right. Your home is going to sell quickly if the buyers are seeing value. And most home sellers kind of assume that their home is going to be sold as is with all of its faults. But I can tell you that small little improvements can go a long way. There are some high cost things that you should check into before you go on the market. And there are some things that people ask me about all the time. Probably the number one thing would be roofs. So we have a lot of hail damage. Did you get hit with that storm a few years ago, Richard, at your house?
Oh, yes, everybody in that area. And then there was one beforehand that really nailed the folks who were up near the zoo. And I mean,
Yeah,
really big hail.
I remember that storm. I had a listing at the time. It was on the market, and she had skylights and these big baseball size these big baseball size hail balls just came through the skylights and water is just pouring inside of her home. And she called me, she goes, I have to take my house off the market. It's kind of a disaster zone here. And it took her a while to get the insurance to come in and get everything repaired. So the roofs are in a normal season of hail season. Typically, there'll be a couple of hailstorms that come across most parts of town. And as long as the roof doesn't leak and there's no interior signs of it, a lot of people don't check it. But we have contacts with several roofers that are willing to go out there and do what they call a free roof cert. So they'll get up there, they'll check it out. If it needs minor repairs, they'll let you know, and they'll certify the roof for another 5 years. Or if it's in good shape, they'll let you know. Or if you have to make a claim to replace the roof, they will let you know. Um, One thing you should check on before you go on the market is how much is your deductible? A lot of these insurance companies kind of really expanded the cost of a hail deductible, and it could be unaffordable. I think one of the major insurance companies in the Colorado Springs area, because there's so much military, is USAA. And they came out and just kind of subtly with their documents said, oh, by the way, the deductible for a roof is going to be 1% of the home's value. Well, if you have to replace a roof, that could be four or five, $10,000, depending on the value of the home. So you can spend a little bit more, like 20 bucks on your insurance policy, and probably get that deductible lowered down. So I would consider doing that before you go on the market. Have your furnace checked out. In general, almost every inspection actually asks the seller to have their furnace cleaned and serviced by an HVAC contractor. That service is only about $90. It's recommended to do it anyway every year. So before you go on the market, it's a good time to check that out. Electrical panels also can be expensive. The ones that typically get tagged for replacement are a brand called Federal Pacific, although I've had some sales where an electrician signed off that that brand of panel was safe in that home. Another thing that can be really costly is the sewer lines or septic systems. So most people tell me, I always ask them, have you ever checked out your sewer line? And almost always the answer is no, we haven't had any problems. We haven't had any backups. So unless there's no clogs in the system, most people don't bother with it. However, those pipes over time tend to fracture. They tend to get roots that go inside. It could just be a service or it could be a big ticket item. So that's something you definitely want to get ahead of, as well as any structural issues. It's good to get an engineer to come out and look at it and make sure it's sound. But overall, most of the updates are fairly quick, easy, and not too expensive. So with a little bit of pre-planning, it'll help you put your house on the market kind of worry-free. Another low-cost thing that you can do to get your home ready is very simple. It's just declutter. So how do you do that? People are used to living with a lot of stuff around them. That's just normal. It reflects, their experiences, which is fine. Except that when you go on the market, you really have to position the home to make it look almost like a model. And sometimes I get feedback from sellers like that after we've put everything away that we ask them to put away, they'll say, it doesn't look like anybody lives here. They kind of don't like it, which is fine. But it starts with just taking a picture and look at the picture, have it stare back at you, have a family member look at it and go, what do you think? Does this look cluttered if I were to put it on the market? Most of the time, the family is going to be fairly brutally honest. And you can get storage sheds and stuff to help you tuck those things away that you plan to take with you, but they just don't look good in the home anymore. A lot of storage places will offer discounts on their spaces. Another easy tip is neutralize the paint. That's a big deal. I remember my brother Tom, he's got his license and we worked together on many or most of the transactions. And he was telling me we had two listings at the same time. So my listing sold right away with the bidding more, and his was very similar in price and location, and it sat on the market showing after showing. They had to reduce the price. Finally, he asked me, hey, what am I doing wrong? And I looked at the photos. I said, this is so easy. In the dining room, it had a turquoise accent wall. In a living room, it had a dusty rose or mauve, whatever that color is, accent wall. I said, all you need to do is neutralize the paint. So sure enough, they spent $800 right away. The home sold full price. So little things like that, you can get a huge return on your investment. Remove the borders, they're dated. Remove any dramatic paint colors, oranges, reds really jump off at the on the online when you're looking at pictures of that online. Lighting, sometimes lighting, very, very simple. Some of the stagers call it the jewelry of homes. So you can update lighting for a relatively low price, even going to Restore and grabbing some light fixtures there to swap it out. Flooring's a big deal as well. If your flooring is tired, showing track marks, dated, dinged up, the buyers are not going to go for it without getting a extreme discount on the price. And then some other things that you might want to take care of would be maybe to make sure your front door looks fresh, the paint looks fresh, the mulch beds are fresh, because curb appeal is critical. Also, the backyard, living room, master bathroom, and master bedroom have to look special. So my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And right now we're talking about some of the things to fix up when selling your home. And when we come back, what we're going to cover are the top 5 mistakes of fix ups and what you can do about them. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program and the proprietor of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're interested in selling your home, you want to call Barb at 719 301 3900. And we're talking, Barb, about the 27 tips to drive up the sales price of your Colorado Springs area home. So, what are some other home repairs that can yield a great return on your investment?
Well, something as simple as maybe painting an oak stair rail, either black or white, or a combination of the two, makes it look a little bit more updated. A really deep cleaning, you'll get a good return on your investment on that. Another thing that you can do that's relatively simple is just make sure that you get rid of excess furniture. Sometimes people fill the room with furniture. Like I was clearing out one of our spare rooms over the weekend, and I'm like, gosh, we don't even use this stuff. Why is it here? So if you don't use it, it might look better that maybe it's packed away if you really want to keep it. Home photographs, they're okay. They're okay as long as they're not overwhelming. It's okay to have a few family pictures here and there, but getting curb appeal right's absolutely important. It's a little bit tough to do at this time of year because a lot of the yards are dormant unless you have artificial grass. So you can do things like mulch beds and just freshen up the front door, stuff like that. And then you can also make sure that if you are planning to sell in the winter months and well in advance, get it photographed in the summer. A lot of people take pictures of flowers. I just had one seller supply to me some beautiful photos that he captured of hummingbirds with their wings stopped in the air. I don't know how he did that. Feeding on one of his plants out front, some of the local deer, any views that you see around the home. When your flowers come up, take a picture on your cell phone. We will use those photos. People absolutely love them because it's all about the experience, and it's hard to see those kind of flowers and stuff in the off season. I mean, sometimes along the Front Range, the flowers don't start coming up until June. But make sure you've trimmed the bushes anyway, paint the front door, update the doorbell. If you happen to have any trip hazards on your concrete, there's a very inexpensive fix that you can do called mud jacking, where they just pump concrete underneath to make it look even and seal it up. That looks really, really good because curb appeal is important. Buyers are going to make a lot of decisions subliminally based on the images that they see. And if you're seeing a extremely cracked driveway and kind of overgrown landscaping and a door that needs painted, they might pass it by just based on that. And you don't want that to happen. And if they don't like the outside, it's hard to get them in the door. That's why curb appeal is so, so important. So if you are thinking of making a move and you'd like to get a free in-home consultation on what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale, go over all the costs, give you a good idea what your home will sell for, and show you all the buyers that we have that will present to your home to. Give us a call at 719 301 3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, call her at 719 301 3900. She's the host of the program. And remember, if you go to barbhasthebuyers.com, you can get that report, 27 tips to sell your home fast and for the most money. And also remember, she's got free reports. Check it out there. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to choose the best agent to sell your house, plus Barb's hot new listings.